Hello, everybody. This is Stephen Whitfield with Drilling Contractor. Now, we are standing here in Galveston, Texas, the day before the 2026 IADC SVE International Drilling Conference. And as astute viewers might know, that day is typically the day that the SVE DSET's IADC Art Symposium is held. So that's where we are right here. And I'm with the man who spoke as part of a panel session at the DSET's Art Symposium, David Reid of NOV. If you've been in an IADC event, you've probably seen him somewhere. He's going to talk to us a bit about human factors and a lot of other cool stuff. So, David, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about human factors.
Love to.
Well, one of the things you brought up is our faith in AI and sort of how it's a challenge to sort of see where the human fits within AI, within a workflow as we incorporate AI into our workflows. Why do you see that as a challenge?
There's two sides to it. The faith part is part of the problem, is that there are people who just trust the system. And these systems are like little babies, that's very early in their development. And so if you trust them too much, you can get in a lot of trouble. And then the human factor on top of that, where we're starting to remove cognitive load when we're doing jobs, which, that feels good. But at the same time, you're starting to trust the system more than you should. And so we're kind of in this awkward transition phase.
Well, it's almost like when you're incorporating AI into workflows, people might be asking, well, am I being replaced? How is AI sort of hitting our jobs? What do you say to people when they have those types of questions?
Maybe you're being
interesting.
Maybe you're being replaced. It's an important thing. You got to understand the world is changing. How do I fit in it? And that's really important. Saying the world isn't changing isn't going to work for us. So you have to understand you're going to have a role. What kind of role will I have? Does my role still exist? Does it have to change? And I think that work is really important rather than hoping that it won't come my way.
You also brought up some examples in the panel here about how NOV has kind of looked outside of this industry to sort of see where other industries might find their value in incorporating AI into the workflows and sort of in building some more connected systems. Can you tell us a little bit about the value of that? Do you think the industry does enough in looking outside of itself to see where that value might come?
I don't think there's enough. We do some, and I've been around it and I've seen it. I've seen us look at different industries, and we'll all tell stories of other industries, but there's always places where people have trod before us. And I think if you can do that work and you can go learn from people who have no competitive issue with you because they're in a different industry, and there's a lot you can learn from just listening to others and looking at their experiences and seeing what can we do. In the AI space, it's just a little bit ahead, right? There's people who are doing things. There's people in our industry who are doing a lot. There's people who aren't doing much. But there are people ahead of us still. And so we can always go out and learn from others. And that's what we've been looking at.
Another thing that you pointed out in your presentation was the gap in systems-based thinking that we tend to see within the industry. So I guess my question to you would be, how would you define systems-based thinking?
Well, I think it's a higher level thinking. If you think of it from trying to look at the whole rather than the piece, we're very used to looking at the piece. And in our world, we may think that's a piece of drilling. But it also, when we look at the bigger picture of where systems should be interacting, the opportunity for a well to be more producible is really the big deal. But inside of our groups, we have silos of businesses, we have silos inside of our operating systems where everyone is just worrying about their piece and not seeing the bigger picture. How that can look is with a well is how producible is that well? Are we actually improving the productivity of the well? Could we be reducing the amount of wells that we drill? All of those things require us to have a lot of different systems talking to each other, and that's a systems approach.
So you're talking about connectivity of systems there. Is that sort of, it almost sounds like an opportunity that we might have as we sort of incorporate AI more into our workflows. Do you see it as an opportunity?
I think it's a great opportunity, particularly because, the AI systems that we're going to start using are going to require more data. Now, there's issues with quality of data. There's issues of mixed streams of data. All of that's going on. But the opportunity could be huge if we think of it in terms of what are we trying to deliver, and what we're trying to do is get the cost of a barrel of oil down. And if we can do that, now we're really talking.
That's the magic word there, cost down, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, David, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for visiting drillingcontractor.org.